get a glimpse. Hopefully you got it.
This is a great time for someone to check your traffic.
Thank you. Thank you.
So Phil, are you familiar with how to do that?
For traffic above?
Yeah.
Yep.
And basically what you'll do is if you feel like it's not safe to launch, you'll give us a thumbs down. When we are safe to launch, you'll give us a thumbs up and you'll point to the nearest traffic. Does that make sense? Thanks. Which is Corey and he's gone.
Thank you.
We do want to get in that habit.
Yes, no, it's on the list here. Clear above right there before we launch.
Because not everybody is, all the time is you're going to fly in these nice conditions.
Right.
Is it just looped around the ear? There you go.
Where are the keys? In my pocket. Drop them, my brother.
Right.
Radio check. Watch this. Should be on.
All right.
Yes.
That was kind of neat how they just sort of hung around for a minute, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, did you find your checklist was working for you today?
Yes.
Good.
Leveling out here.
And is it odd that they're going north and we're going west?
Except that I've been around balloons, so
Yeah.
I mean it is, but not really.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about your flight plan.
Okay, well, I'm gonna get up into kind of the layer that they're at and ride this out that direction, and yep, if we can get, I think, correct me if I'm wrong here, but if we are past, let me think about that. Pretty much always stay on the side of Mark Zeppel if possible.
Ideally, yep.
But we do have access up to 94. There's some access on this side.
Some, yep.
To get in like around the bluffs area a little bit, down in that kind of valley right there. It does get a little bit trickier on the other side of 94, so if I can stay this side of Mark Zeppel, that would be my best plan. So that direction, this side of Mark Zeppel, and let's see what we can do by staying there. I'm gonna check into the tower real quick.
Yep. Yep, now that we can see him peeking above the horizon.
Springs Tower, this is Hot Air Balloon November 74008.
I feel like Terry's got a lefter track than Corey.
That was not 05 November, I think. Springs Tower, this is Hot Air Balloon November 74008.
Unusual, isn't it?
is. All the way to the right's volume up, right?
Yep. It's on the right frequency because we heard them. Yeah, 119.9.
Okay. It's the big button on the side here, right? That's
Yep.
the only button there is for us.
Yeah, I think you're doing it right. I noticed Terry called multiple times as well.
Make sure we clear the fire lines here.
And so how would you compare Terry and Corey in their flight planning here?
Well, I like Terry's direction better.
Okay.
Just because as we talked about, if we can stay on this side of Mark Shuffle, but if I'm going to get there, it looks like I need to go up.
So it feels to me like we're going sort of to the just crossing the power lines a little bit. Where So 17 right means that they're going to launch off the far corner. And
Cardinal 11966, roger, runway 17 right, wind 190 at 4, clear for takeoff.
There's our a little bit more left.
Yeah, it's kind of, the power line is a nice reference, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah, this is nice.
Try the tower again.
Okay.
Airport 10, roger.
Springs Tower, this is Hot Air Balloon, November 74008.
Hot Air Balloon 74008, winds 190.5, and Springs altimeter 3031.
Copy that, thank you. Leave it at that. Something know what we're doing.
I think that's perfect. Okay, so in this situation, I'm watching Corey's shadow.
Congo, in left heading on 130, and use caution to 3 Hot Air.
Still moving north in what looks like northeast.
2 of the 3 in sight.
And
Congo 33,
so,
roger, and continue left turn left heading is 060.
and so I want to see whether that drainage is still there. I would think it's going to disappear here pretty quick, wouldn't you?
I agree.
Because I think Corey and Terry both had more of a
Even
crosswind inflation than we did.
117 right this time.
Okay, so in terms of access to sort of spot from the air, you can see where the grass changes color.
Yeah.
That's the edge of the airport ops fence. Or sorry, that's not true. The airport property.
Right.
The ops fence is the gray fence
With the white dots on it.
Yep. And so this is the airport property that sort of jags in, and then that's the base BX.
Right.
This brown building on the south end of that is a red zone. There's only 2 red zones on Peterson, and that's one of them.
Okay.
The other one is up sort of in the middle of the base. They're near those green buildings. Green, blue, whatever color that is. And then this, of course, is the new Mark Shuffle.
Right.
You can compare it to the old Mark Shuffle that sort of winds around and then almost goes parallel there.
Right.
November 05, November left approved.
And obviously we can get on the base if we need to, but it's a hassle.
Sure.
You can get into this field, as you know. We can get into this field. Getting into that field is possible but tricky. And then, of course, I just avoid the tank farm if I can.
Tequila Sunrise to Chase, radio check.
1168 Victor Springs Tower. Full short runway 1 right.
Something.
Yeah.
November at 968 by heading.
pretty hard bank.
I don't see him. I
Oh,
hear
he's
him.
down low.
Oh, yeah.
He's actually leveled back out. He was almost knife edge.
Oh, really? So you can see where Highway 24 comes in,
Yes.
right? And so this is Highway 94 that's just on the other side of the White Rocks, goes out to those buildings.
Right.
Highway 24 goes out at the angle there. And then you can see Mark Sheffield goes up there. So we're currently to the east of Mark Sheffield.
Well,
And-
we will be. Yeah.
Right, we will be. And then you can see, once we get up past 24, there is a little bit of access on that side of Mark Sheffield for a
Yeah.
little while,
Yeah.
and then no man's land, and then there's access again up around, say, Constitution-ish. Look at all these cows down here.
Yeah. Hope old Weston one. Wait for the option for. Michael had it on lock or not.
Okay.
All stuff that happens.
Yep. The nice thing is, things like the radio, that's a relatively low importance, especially with this glimpse technology we're flying in town. It's a luxury, but neither us nor the crew really should depend on it.
Right.
We got a pretty good clip going.
We do.
So one of the things that tells me is that as that shift occurs on the ground, this layer will drop down, and so if we were to fly long enough, it would end up being a breezy landing. And like what I think Terry's doing is calculating his rate of speed. So he's got a landing in mind, and he's dropped down in order to slow down so that he can land up around the water treatment or 24 or something like that and still get his full hour in. Corey's just playing around.
Everybody's a little slower down lower, so I'm going to bring it down just a little bit.
Okay.
Bearing in mind these power lines.
Yep.
We're pretty clear of these.
Yeah, however, I would anticipate a little bit of a right turn, so we'll stay, I think we should stay above them. That airplane's taking off. You know, I've lived here 13 years now. This view never gets old.
Nope.
Looking at Terry's shadow, I think he is moving a little bit north and east. What do you think?
I feel like, yeah, a little bit.
So that's
So let's stay
sort
up
of
here.
that's sort of fine, but the further east you get, as you know, then you get up here and then you got to work harder and harder to get back into an accessible point. Because even right on 94 is a possible landing spot, but it's a pain in the butt because you got fences on both sides.
Right. I heard him talking on it, so I must have not had it on the lock. So while I was running around doing balloon, or getting ready to inflate, I could hear him talking on it. So
Oh, okay.
I'm sure he probably mashed some buttons.
Probably. That is the advantage of the lock feature, right?
Yes.
So you see this little driveway entered here?
Yeah.
That's what we would call the old East Gate.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And you can actually see the orange barriers?
Yes.
You can actually drive in and you can get past those barriers.
Okay.
And that is technically outside of the
Right.
base.
Sure.
So I've landed in that either on the ridge or on the road a couple of times. And it's a little bit wonky to get around the barriers, but it ends up being fine. Okay, so we have to be aware that Terry might jump up in front of us.
Yes. And we're above him, so we got to give him right away.
Right. Now my guess is it actually looks like he's turned more due north. Because doesn't it look like he's just sort of pacing us a little bit?
Yeah. I still feel like one of us is going. I feel like we're getting closer to this side of him. Probably us.
I wonder. Yeah, I agree. I just don't know which is which.
Right.
1168, we're negative on the traffic right now.
How would you feel about dropping down to his level and taking some of the speed out?
Yeah.
Give us just a little bit more time. Yep.
About doing.
Now that it looks like he's not headed to the right.
Right.
I thought we were going to drop down.
Yeah. I was just slowing that. I don't have my meter on me.
Maybe that was intentional. Maybe it was a subconscious realization that you can fly without insurance. Yeah, as we fly more with it, I'm a fan of that little vent.
Yeah.
It just seems convenient to do a little vent like this, you know?
Right.
Okay, so now you've initiated the descent. We're dropping now.
Yep.
And so the thing to be aware of is what I would call the appearance of a collision course.
Right.
And although we know we can avoid them, we don't want them to feel like we're creating a dangerous situation. So now you can go ahead and start to soften that a little bit. Because eventually, as we come down, we don't know where, but we should experience that slowdown. But either way, we'll plan to fly over him, and if we slow down in front of him, then great. Okay, here's that right turn. And here's the slowdown. Nice. So from my perspective, feel free to take it all the way down to the ground. That's going to level us out and I think actually create a little bit of a rise. So just scanning the horizon for hazards. Obviously we have the big power lines here. We've got the rock bluff in front of us and then Terry's in front of us. Everything else out here is wide open. So now you can feel us going up a little bit. Neat. Okay, notice that he just lost his left. So that says the left was actually caused by that canyon, and now we're both going pretty parallel.
5 mile 5.
Now, it would be logical to believe there's power lines going into the water treatment plant, simply because a facility like that's going to use a lot of power.
Right.
I don't see any right now, but just something to be aware of in that when you get into that industrial world,
Right.
there's a possibility that you're going to see that, you know, one main line going in kind of thing.
And there's definitely power lines going on 94 here, so this is 94, right?
Yes.
Closeville Road. And I definitely see poles.
Yeah, I do too. They're small, but I see them, yep.
He definitely has that left a little bit.
Again, yeah, it should be coming right up this canyon. We won't get that push quite as much, but a little bit. It's sad to me to see this trash in here. We were watching a National Geographic thing the other day, and these folks were on an uninhabited island somewhere off of South America, like a few hundred miles off the coast. And they were on the, I'm not sure the nautical terms, but I'll call the shadow of the wind side, and then they went to the windy side. The shadow side was perfectly clean and pristine, National Geographic kind of stuff, right? They went to the other one, and it was just covered in plastic and trash, but it all washed up on the island. For hundreds of miles. You know, it's just, it was so sad.
Apparently
This is cool, isn't it?
Apparently some college kids have discovered or invented a bacteria that eats plastic.
Really?
And they're working on a way to deploy it, and their specific thing that they were excited about is so there's apparently this giant island floating of trash.
Oh, I've heard about that.
Yeah, and so that's what got them. We want to fix that.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it's bacteria that eats plastic and then puts out nitrate.
Really?
So right
That
back
sounds
into the
fantastic.
cycle. Right.
Chemistry for the win, huh? Similar path, just so that you know, if you were to come right along the face of that cliff, sometimes the wind will actually pull you into this, and you can get right up into those walls and then just hop up. It's pretty cool.
Definitely feel we got at least north, if not right again.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting how the valleys.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense. The wind's blowing this way, hits the wall, and it's got to go
Right.
somewhere.
Okay, so there's Corey's crew there. There's our crew there, and I thought I saw Terry's crew. Oh, there's Terry's crew up near 94 there. So. This is a natural gas pump station here. As indicated, obviously it's fenced and you can see pumps here, but the yellow posts, they indicate a gas line underground.
Right.
That's really helpful to know, especially in like a long jump situation, because although it may not be heavily traveled, technically there is access to anywhere along that pipeline.
Right.
Isn't that neat?
Yeah. You can see a shadow coming up on
Oh,
us.
funny. I feel like we've got that little bit of a left here now. Let's see what he does.
Yeah.
So I don't think we will actually, but if we were to continue this direction,
Right.
you get your Whistling Pines Gun Club is that brown building there. There's a fair bit of open, active construction between there and the next set of houses. But of course the open spaces are shrinking because it's construction.
I remember Scott Schultz did his first solo and landed right there.
Right at the south end of those houses.
Yep.
I think when I did my currency solo, do you remember a couple of years ago we launched out of Berners-Field?
Yep.
And I think you and Travis.
Yep. Yeah,
And we landed right around in this triangle somewhere, I think.
Yep. On that side of Mark Shuffle.
Yep.
Yep. Yep. And we got stuck in traffic.
Mm-hmm.
There was quite a big traffic at the intersection we were coming.
Yeah, I remember
south
that.
on that.
Okay, so Terry looks like he's picked up a bit of a right turn relative to us, but he hasn't picked up the speed yet. Yep, power lines on Space Village, see that. How's Corey doing back there? Oh, I lost him. Oh, there he is. Nice. That's a pretty area. That's a tough place to retrieve, though.
Possible there's a land bridge. So if you go down, kind of where that truck stopped down there, there's an entrance to the gate and then a land bridge that'll get you back over here. And you can drive all through all this.
Nice. Okay.
I got Joe Lillard right on the back side of it once a couple years back.
Okay.
Living out of there. Alright, level, they're going up over these power lines.
Nice. So boy, I think you got a right turn. What do you think?
Yeah,
Okay, so given what you see now, tell me a little bit about your flight plan.
right. So, I still feel like traveling along Mark Shuffle is going to be better than getting too far out that way.
Okay.
So I'm going to stay low here. If we need some right turn, we know there's a little bit of right turn up there, but if we can get to Mark Shuffle on this altitude here, I think I'm going to ride this for a little bit.
Okay.
About
What time is it?
not quite 30 minutes into
Okay.
our flight, so about 28 minutes into our flight, so plenty of fuel left. Not come off. Most have been flying off this tank over here.
This one?
No, this one here.
Oh, okay.
I haven't come off the plate yet over here.
So I don't think he liked that right turn. What do you think?
Yeah.
Looks like a man that drove down there. I think that's her parked on the side of the road over there. And I think today, given our direction and the speed, I think we should plan that this is a relatively short flight for us.
Okay.
You know, we've been hitting an hour and 20, hour and 30, and I think we should plan shorter than that.
Okay.
Just because as we're flying towards congestion, and we expect the winds to pick up a little bit, you know, to be conservative. So how fast do you think we're moving right now?
I mean, I'm going to guess at 15 miles an hour, somewhere in there.
Okay.
But I'm really bad at that, so that's, I guess, maybe faster. 15 to 18, maybe,
Okay.
somewhere in there.
I would have guessed less than that.
Okay.
This is currently saying 7.8 knots.
So not even 9 miles an hour.
Yeah, 7.5, 7.9. So
Okay. Less than 10, huh?
Right.
Feels fast.
It does feel fast, and I think it feels fast because it's unusual for us.
Right.
But that was part of my motivation to fly today, because I did anticipate it being a little bit quicker.
Yeah. I saw, as I was looking and checking the various routes, I was like, yeah, it's going to probably be a little bit of a quicker landing.
So with this balloon, at this speed, let's call it 8 knots,
Yeah.
it is possible to land and keep it standing up, but it's right at the edge.
Right.
Anything below 7, you can keep it standing up and it'll just rock around a little bit. Anything above 10, guaranteed you should lay it down.
Right.
My belief is, personally, unless there is a strong reason to keep it stood up, in any kind of a marginal condition, laying it down is better.
I agree.
You tend to have a different mindset on the landing. You're much less likely to bounce if you're planning on a land and deflate.
Sure, makes sense.
And there are a tremendous number of accident statistics of the balloon was landed and then, and I don't like and then.
Right.
And passengers, in my opinion, get hurt on the bounce. So, I mean, you can't always avoid the bounce, that's a thing, but interesting that up just that little bit gave us that right turn, isn't it? Okay, so show me a couple landing options.
Well, landing, anywhere there's space, unlandable, we can worry about access afterwards. But as far as accessible landing spots, I am not as familiar with this area. I do know that we can get in. I don't know if we're going to make it better, but I know we can get in on the backside of those the trucks there, the semi-trucks.
Oh, yeah.
That's all accessible back there. I mean, I'm seeing this. We've got the space between, on that side of 94 before the houses.
Right.
I don't know about accessibility there, but that's a big.
In the triangle there.
Yeah, that's a big spot to land. Seems like there's at least space-wise, looking-wise, we've got space kind of in between the housing and just past the housing. We got space on the right side or the east side of Mark Shuffle. There's that area where those strips are.
Yep.
That's landable again. Access.
Yeah, that's an ideal scenario, actually. It feels like we're going to be left of that, but that where you see the roads. What that means is they've gone in and laid roads and curbs for future construction. That means it's going to be wide open and accessible. Right. So it's ideal. Now there might be posts or things like that to watch out for, but it's probably.
And there was some right turn, not too high off the ground if we needed it.
I think that's all right. Let's see if that right turn's accessible to us.
We definitely know that down on the ground we've got some left there.
Yeah. Okay, so that sense of speed that you feel, that can create a fair bit of nervousness. One, because things develop quickly, right? You eat up a lot of landing area quickly. And of course, then like you say, you have a breezy landing, which means a deflation. And the landing part is actually okay. It's the approach and underestimating how quickly you would eat up a landing spot that tends to create much more of a nerve. So based on what Terry's doing, looks like to me he's getting more and more left. Like, he might cross over Mark Sheffel and be in that trucking area there. I feel like we're getting a right turn now. so that if we were to hang here for a while, we would sort of slide down. We'd be up around where that curved road goes in. I think that field is open. Again, intersection, road, possible power lines. We always have to keep an eye out for that. We always have to keep in mind these big power lines over here. You know, you can't just always stay focused on a narrow band.
Sure.
Because if you get a wind shift, you could be in real trouble.
Right.
So you can start to see how attractive that construction area looks now.
Yeah.
It's like
where the big. Oh, the new construction.
Right.
Where
So
the
then
road is, yeah.
you know you get nice clean roads, nice clean dirt.
Right.
And of course, we won't worry about the rotation of the balloon because we don't have a turning bend. And but what we'll do when we come in for a landing is we'll do the standard approach like you normally do, but we'll want to approach on the leading edge of the field.
As much room as possible.
That's right. In an ideal world, what you do on a windy landing is you level out about 5 feet, and then at the leading edge of the field, and then you turn your pilot light off and open the vent and just open it and hold it, and then just get real low in the basket so that you stay in. And wait for it to stop. It's a fairly simple procedure, but it requires a higher degree of precision because you don't have a lot of time to recover if you overburn, overvent, that kind of a thing. My imagination is he lost the rest of that left.
No, I definitely feel like it's tracking.
Interesting. And we're getting a little bit less of our right, so that tells me that we're just going to fish our way all the way through here, and it's going to be a little bit of a funky approach. And given the fact that we're planning on doing a rip-out landing, this is not an extreme situation, but we might as well practice a rip-out landing. And the crew is of very little value anyway.
Sure.
And so we'll just go in and dump it, and they'll find us. They're right next to us now, so I'm sure that they can catch up. See, Terry's going almost straight down the road. Yeah, I think he's going faster than we are. So, would you like to do this landing, or would you like me to demonstrate this landing? What's your preference?
I mean, I learned by doing.
Okay. Okay, so I'm scanning ahead of us.
Yeah.
Big power lines, open field. Open construction on the other side of whatever that building is. And then there's open stuff on this side. I don't see power lines crossing the road, but I do see some street lights that might be something along that road.
There's definitely lots of parking lot there too. So.
Yep.
Let us come down a little bit. It looks like he's actually coming back over. I mean, he's been following the road pretty parallel, but I feel like he's getting a little bit of a right turn. I don't know that we're going to make that beautiful construction area though.
I don't know that we are either, but let's just kind of keep our eyes open. When we go in there, we also have to watch out for things like survey stakes, water main coming up, those sorts of things, but I don't see a lot of that right now. In this situation, you are descending, which is right. I think it's right to start descending and set up an approach because you're then much less likely to do that steep approach, overburn, porpoising as you come into the landing. So yeah, as we get down sort of parallel with, you know, rooftops kind of a thing, that gives us an ability to see, are we going to get a right turn, left turn, what are we going to do? I don't know about the field on the leading edge of that coal pile. I don't know if that's accessible or not. I think it is. So that's very likely where Terry's headed. He'll cross that road, which I think might be flat, maybe. I haven't seen that.
Constitution.
Constitution, yeah.
That makes this team super.
Okay, so I see the tall stoplight manifold there, but I don't see power lines yet. I do see one brown what looks like a power pole to the
Yeah.
right of the coal pile. So
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. Let's keep an eye on that. Terry looks to be setting up a landing. That he could be looking at that field. He's been up long enough that that'd be an acceptable landing time. It's possible that as we continue to descend that we'll get a right turn into the construction. That'd be great if we did.
Kind of what I'm trying to ride there.
Just for reference, this field right here with King Super sign in it,
Yeah.
at this speed, that would be just barely too small if you hit it perfectly.
Okay.
So like if you were desperate and you came in, cleared the wall, and laid the basket on the curb,
Right.
you would drag up and the envelope would be touching that fence. Okay. Yep, you're doing exactly the right thing. I do not see any power lines ahead of us. I see the stoplights, I see street lights, and let's continue to descend a little bit and go ahead and get in the best approximation of a landing position. So you've got your hand on the red line, you're ready to go. Now that you're so far in the back of the basket, it's safer, and so in that way, if we do get this turn like it feels like we might be getting, you've got an open area, right, that you can land, and you can make that decision quickly. Okay, and now beyond the burner, make sure that you don't set up too steep a descent here.
Sure.
Posts along the grass edge.
Yep. Those white with the poke. Yep.
So we might not be able to tuck it in here, but we'll level it out. Treetop level here. I do see a power line on that side of the road.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead and level out. We were hoping for a right turn on the deck, but now it's significantly more left.
Yeah.
That's all right. I'm seeing this power line, and then the coal pile, and then the tanks, and then the radio tower. So that path is pretty unattractive.
Yeah.
But as we come back up here a little bit, we might get a little bit more of a right turn. So you can see Terry was obviously planning that as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so see these green things?
Yes.
Those are either water or sewer.
Sure.
And so we would obviously want to avoid those kinds of things if we
Right.
were to land in there.
Level or ascending over these power lines right here. Nice. I see a big cell tower.
Yep. Now it's important to remember at this stage, although we are looking for a landing, we're not desperate.
Right.
We've got a lot of fuel,
Sure.
and we know if we continue out there, we're headed to the hospital. We know there's a
Right.
ton of open
Right.
stuff up there. So that would have been a great spot to land, and no big deal. That's the advantage of, as you're going into this area, thinking about landings early.
Sure.
Is you can get a better feel. He's got a significant left
Yeah, I see
turn,
that.
like an unnatural left turn. It still feels temperature-wise quite stable, but I think we are getting a little bit of this just wandering up the hill
Yep.
kind of
Now
thing.
he's going north again.
Right. So in that instance, it's super important to stay at that
Yep.
height where you're clear of all the obstacles, because if you get
As
that
it
weird
goes-
turn,
Right. Who knows?
Yep, Corey's still behind us. He's chasing us. So now, if I can read Terry's mind, sharp left turn, sharp right turn, close to the ground, approaching congestion. You know what? I'm going to jump up 500 feet and see if I can get to the right.
All right. left.
Either that or he's just stopped.
I feel like he's definitely going left. Thank you, Roger.
Okay, you see the propane tanks over here?
Yeah, yes.
And so then this open field between the propane tanks and that fence,
Yep.
it is not accessible.
Okay.
I've attempted that before and I couldn't find access. But the field on the other side of the road is. So if we were to get that right turn, cross over the propane, there's a tower in there. That open field with the big yellow sign and the blue sign in it, those are
Right.
accessible. Okay, you see the balloon getting skinny?
Yeah.
That implies that he's letting it get cold and he's going to drop down. May not, but it could just be that he's lightly loaded. It just looks different than what we've seen this morning.
I think, go ahead and swap right now.
Okay.
On both sides. We're both coming off the peg, and while I have a second to think about it, and not doing a million other things, swapping both.
Corey's actually got a line on that construction area. So basically the congestion between here and Woodman is what you see is what you get. It's mostly houses, neighborhoods. There's a field and a park every now and then. There is a power substation right in here. I'm not sure if you can see that. Sort of the gray box, the gray area on the red sand.
The red, yep.
And then the hospital is on Woodman. It's also valuable to note that there's a big set of power lines that goes along Woodman. It does stop eventually, but I don't remember where. And so there are landing sites on this side of the power lines and on the other side. And that's sort of probably our next big window is as we get up closer to Woodman. Unless we get more to the right of Bob Shepherd. You know, I've landed in this construction area a couple of times. see now that here's the access into this field. Yeah. It's just off the curve and there's that. And it is a little bit of a dome shape.
You can make this field?
I think it'd be pretty tight. I'm not opposed to kind of dipping down, and if it feels really good, we can take it. Just based on Terry's experience of the hard left turn, I'm not sure though. That's my hesitation. Thinking you were going to shoot for this field? If you are, you want to let it get a little heavier. And then actually going to bend just a little bit to overcome that burn. Okay, just a little side bend here. And the reason is because we want to be on the leading edge of this hill if we can. And see how now we're getting into that lower level and picking up speed? So this field becomes less attractive as we pick up the higher speed on the ground. So I think if we were desperate, we could hit it, but I think it would be pretty aggressive because of this fence and then the big fence and then the other stuff. And so I'd be inclined to pass it up. Not a bad line though. If we knew that line was predictable, what we could have done was right at the leading edge, come down much more aggressively, flare it out. And then we could even use that hill to help slow us down. Because we're what, 60 feet above the ground now. That's not bad. We could have been low, but I just was nervous about this fence here, and then the big downhill. Stopping a balloon as you're going down the hill is really hard. Yep. Yep. So we'll pass these power lines, and then we'll start looking again. There are incidents where people have looked for landing and they get landing fixation, and they just totally don't see a big power line like that until it's too late, and then they have that sense of, what can I get over them? I'm not sure. And
that flag's going pretty hard
to the right. Interesting, yeah. That flag is a strong right turn. What that tells me is if we were any lower, we'd be heading straight to those power lines. I'm watching Corey, he's still right behind us.
Power lines to show the substation?
Yeah. Right now, I think we're right about at the top of those power lines. What do you think? Okay, Terry's ducking in to look for something in there. Must be a little park or something. I can't remember where that is. These power lines, this altitude feels better to me. What do you think?
Yeah, that's why I was letting it go up.
Yeah, we're getting that left turn again, which feels like it's not what we want. Right. But I think from a safety standpoint,
we'll clear the power lines and where it's got us in there.
That's right, absolutely. Because we know if we fly, we know it opens up. We don't need to be worried. So imagine if you were target fixated, that grass sure looks attractive, doesn't it? And if you hit it, you'd probably be okay, but if you missed it in any way, you'd be in a world of hurt. Flying right at this boundary layer, we're getting a breeze. I'm getting cold.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hands are the toughest part for sure. Okay. Whatever Terry ducked into, he didn't like. Right? By the way, if you're not familiar with the way a switch yard works, everything in that yard is hot. Yeah. It's not just what looks like a power line. And the reason nothing grows in there is because they put a grounding plane underneath. So they dig up quite a bit of dirt and they lay down metal. And then they build everything on it so that the static doesn't discharge outside to the fence. Yeah, maybe he probably saw those flags and thought, well, maybe I can get that right turn.
We're further to the right than he was.
Yeah.
I think I definitely see a pole there. I don't know
I do
if it's
too,
a light
yeah.
pole or a power pole.
I don't know. I think I see two right there, and they're both light poles.
Pretty good sized field if we can.
It is, yep. If we can
just
descend,
past it.
if we can descend enough to get on the leading edge of it, then I think we'll be okay. But again, notice now you're slipping into that lower layer, which is faster. So we're eating into that field pretty fast. Attractive field though, isn't it? But isn't it? It's deceiving how much faster the ground wind is up than. So now remember that you're going to blow off this, but you're still cold. So you.
Man, I had decided 10 seconds earlier.
That's exactly right. And frankly, if the ground wind was the same wind as this same speed as the wind up above,
we picked up
I think your mental calculations would have worked just fine.
Right.
But coming in, we scoop forward and you lose all this real estate pretty quickly. So it's not an error in your descent calculations, it was an error in the wind speed calculations.
Right.
And of course, what we've seen is ground wind is pretty hard to predict today.
Yes.
That flag is calm. Go ahead and just kind of hang out here. I don't think we need to be any lower. That steam is going nowhere.
Yeah.
That flag is calm. They might be just a little bit of a bowl here. Calm down.
That's team. One's going this way, one's going that way.
I know
Between
it.
two houses right there.
I don't remember where Corey and Amanda live, but don't they live somewhere right up around in here? I think Amanda the other day said just north of Woodman. I don't know where though. And he is no longer behind us. He must have landed. Okay. Now we'll both go that way. Okay, so now you can see the big power lines on the hill.
Yes.
That gives you a sense of distance, and they do go, like I say, I think they go out basically the length of Woodman. So Terry's coming in close into this fire station. The gray building with the red trim is the fire station. The field on the left, actually all around it, is wide open.
Pulled Corey out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Or no,
I know.
pulling Rainbow out of there, and Corey showed up.
Right. I was gonna say, I think I landed there, and they showed up.
It was, yeah.
Looks like Terry's got a sharp right turn. So scanning a wide range because we don't know what the ground wind is going to do. There's this open construction area. Don't let the descent get ahead of you. That flag on the right hand side of the construction area looks like it's going almost due north. So at this stage, I would level out, you know, I'll say high above the rooftops, you know, this sort of treetop level. And we'll get a feel whether we're getting right or left, whether we get the fire station, that kind of a thing. Left of the fire station's really easy. Right of the fire station on the other side of Dublin is kind of a steep hill. But you never know what we're going to get, right? It's hard to predict today. Maintain your temperature through all these layers and turns here. Okay, Terry looks like he's got a landing there. And if my eyes aren't deceiving me, it looks like he's going almost dead calm. Morning! Okay, Terry's landed. Excellent. I do not see power lines between us and Dublin.
Okay, just light poles.
I see light poles. I see light poles in the construction. Normally at this stage you probably would have briefed your passengers a few times on landing. For today, don't worry about me, I can take care of myself. Whenever we do find a suitable landing spot, remember that your protocol is you're going to be hanging on, stay in the basket, right? And then pilot light, vent light.
Right.
The nice thing about doing that is it also means, it implies that your hands are not on the burner.
Right.
You're not doing that, you know.
Sure.
So, but you can burn all the way in, you know, and then it's like, and like I say, about 5 feet or so, you can quit that burn, shut the pilot light off, and then vent. Even if we're doing a steep approach, that's what I like. So, things to keep in mind. Okay, so this flag has got a right turn. I'm still keeping the fire station as an option in my mind. I mean, right now we're not going anywhere near it, but you never know. We've had enough shifts today, it could be anywhere, right? Winter Gardener, their grass is nice and green. How's your stress level?
It's okay.
Yeah? Still breathing?
Still breathing.
Good. Look at that, right in the center of the parking lot.
Good job.
That's what a few thousand hours does for you. Good morning. I wouldn't recommend it today, and of course right now we're climbing, but this area right here would be a good desperation landing.
Right.
You know, one of those, again, if we were down low, yep, you could tuck it in there and it'd be all right. You run the risk of hanging it on the fence. But seen a lot more use of this artificial turf for schools and stuff.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah. So now we're getting into a little bit of that sort of cautionary zone ahead of the big power lines, right? Because there are some open spots between here and Woodman that might end up looking pretty attractive. So if we fly fairly low, we might be able to just duck into one, but we don't want to let those power lines sneak up on us.
Right.
What you thinking?
Well, I kept looking at all these fields over here, and
Yep.
Of course, we didn't get that. So I'm wondering, right past these houses, it looks like there might be some space right there. But
Okay.
looks like that we're about to run out of. That's that power line set.
Yep.
So
That's right.
either we duck it in right there, or if we're on track for it, then it'd be get down as quickly as possible on the other side of those houses. But I don't know what is there exactly. I mean, looks like there's a field, but it also looks like this side of the houses there's less construction, or less open.
Right. I see the trees and stuff like
Right.
that. Yep.
Fingers are cold.
Yeah, me too. Okay, you see on the other side of the houses where there's this fence that splits the two fields?
Yes.
And then the tree on the left?
Yes.
I would go ahead and plant
That spot in there?
in one of those. So we'll clear that last house. And that's good. If we don't like what we see, we'll bail out quickly.
Right.
Make sense?
Yep.
Okay. So again, be in landing position, have the red line in your hand, be ready to make an aggressive maneuver if you need to, because that was just a little bit of an overburn. So I'm seeing fence on the left-hand side, I'm seeing fence down the middle of this field, dumpster here. I don't know what the access looks like in there, but right now on the other side of the road, these fields look good to me.
Yeah.
Okay, and go ahead and let it ease down. There's a light pole here, no power lines. See the chain link fence here? Yep. Okay. So your two fences here are your biggest obstacles.
Right.
Okay, and give just a... Keep puffing. Okay, trees on the left, two fences, and then wide open field, little vent. Cold layer there, sorry, I didn't anticipate that. Keep the vent open. Okay, let go of the vent. Burn, burn, burn. And vent, we're done. Keep it open, all the way open. Okay. Nicely done. Keep that vent all the way open. There you go. Perfect. Well done, Scott. Well done. Very nice. Very nice landing. How you feeling?
I feel great, man.
Good.
Just sad I broke the pole.
Yeah, that's okay.
I know it happens, but
It does happen. Especially at these temperatures.
yeah. Sweet.
Very nice, man. Really sharp approach. Nice clearance on the fence and trees. Never any question of, imagine if someone's watching you.
Yeah.
Right? And what we want to avoid is, holy shit, he's going to hit the fence. Holy, you know?
Right.
Sometimes you have to cut it that close. Sure. Then, I mean, really nice. You waited, and then, so we no risk of coming back into that fence.
Right.
So that's an opportunity. We could have made that landing silky smooth if we had double burners. Because as you're burning all the way down,
right.
One burner is plenty for what we do, right? But boy, double burners in that short period of time,
Right.
it would have flared it out,
Sure.
and then you could have just greased it right in. But we hit the ground, I would estimate about 350 feet a minute.
Okay.
Not bad.
No.
And I'm not injured,
No,
and I'm
no.
old.
Right. All right, I'm gonna turn the fuel off.
Yep.
Here.
And so I think the access is going to be through that house.
Yeah, I think so too. That was my thinking when we came in anyway.
Yep. Nice short green grass, right?
Yeah.
This is as green as it gets in the winter in
Yeah.
Colorado. Oh, look at this rabbit coming towards us. We just
Yeah, I see him.
saw some kids in the trees here coming over too. They might come over. Okay, what would you think about sort of rolling this over and getting the balloon straightened out a little bit?
Yeah, let's do that. I guess we need to roll it that way.
I was gonna say, do you want to roll it right side up or upside down? It's kind of 6 of one, half dozen of the other, isn't it?
That pole snapped. Does that make any difference in our decision making?
No,
here?
not really. I think it doesn't matter. Let's go your way.
Yeah.
Okay. straighten out the red line and the bent line, and when I get up there, I'll just kind of put those up into the top there. Before we tighten up. Oh, and go ahead and unhook the crown line. That's right here for me.
Oh, yeah. Okay, you're clear on the crown?
Did you notice the time?
Hour and 27 minutes.
1.4.
Hey, does Phil still have our glare? Okay, the access will be from the west of where we're at exactly. So there's a big house, and we're in a big field behind the house. Okay, well everybody's, we're all good here, so no worries. Okay, alright, see you in a bit.
Yeah, and what I have found is the poles, they break as a result of a combination of very specific forces.
Well, he knows where he's trying to go.
Yeah. And it's not the result of a hard landing. It's typically a moderately hard landing and a twisting effect and someone holding onto the pole.
That was the last part for sure. My hip was in it.
Right.
And so as we drug a little bit, it just went.
Right, and you twist the basket.
Yep.
Yep. And then that's the combination.
Yeah, I felt my hip give.
Oh, take your time, man. I'm just gonna gather it up a little bit. Okay, I don't think there's a lot of air left.
No.
Would you go ahead and text Corey
Yeah.
and Terry?
And let them know we're good.
Yep. We know Terry's good because we drove by him, but we assume Corey's good. Come around April or so, when you're driving around with the windows down more, you'll hear it.
Yeah.
GoPro's beeping here. Is that intentional?
Oh, it's probably telling us that it's done.
Okay.
That's good. Welcome.
Can I borrow your lighter real quick? This, I noticed this was fraying a little bit. Hello, sir.
Howdy.
We made it a little tricky for you today, didn't we?
Yeah, I would have been in better shape if Templeton Gap hadn't been closed because I could have looped around, but
Oh, okay. I didn't realize it was closed.
yeah, so we ended up doing a couple of U-turns before we were all said and done here.
Yep.
Why do you need to fire that up?
Because it melts the coating and keeps it from fraying.
Ooh, that's cool. Are you going to set it on fire?
Nope, that was it. I just wanted to kind of get the ends tucked in there. Nice. Okay, so.
Wrap it up.
Okay. We got a lot of straps to put on.
I was pulling, that's Dave's pant leg. I thought that was the edge of the balloon bag. Sorry about that. That's funny. Almost gave him a wedgie. Yeah.
It's the way it feels, right?
Man, we still got a fair amount of balloon left here.
Yeah, usually at this stage. Yeah, we'll go ahead and sit and take those bubbles out. Then we can straighten up the bag and then we'll have
You'll get to. Hold on. Sometimes we need to wait.
Just for a second.
And as we finish this end fill with this method, it's important to keep it flat, otherwise we run a risk of it twisting.
Okay.